Hello, and welcome to MEC 280 Pollution and Human Health. I'm Jay Mendelson, a lecturer in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. This time we're going to talk about indoor air quality and how you can have health problems just from problems in the air inside your own home. And you might ask, how can that be? Well, suppose your home has had a flood in the past, and then you never got everything in the home dried out, all the carpets and water that got into the walls. What can happen after a period of time is that you get mold and mildew forming in the walls, and these are actually living organisms, and they give off all kinds of spores, and you breathe them in, and then guess what? You get sick. And if you have asthma, it gets even worse. In your air conditioning and in your heating systems in your home, you may have large air ducts that transfer hot or cold air throughout the house or throughout the apartment building. And mold, mildew, and bacteria and other types of parasites may be growing in those ducts. And as they grow, the spores can be spread as the air circulates in your home. There is a phrase that came about in office buildings in the 1980s. It was called a sick building. And what would happen is people noticed that in certain office buildings, often the newest ones, one person would get sick and then everyone in the office area would get sick because viral particles they breathe out when they were sneezing were getting into the air and they were never getting exhausted out of the building. And that happened because people began to realize that the way you could design a building to be energy efficient was to seal all the nooks and crannies in the building and make it virtually airtight. And this was great for saving energy in your air conditioning and heating costs, but it was terrible in terms of keeping fresh air in the building for people to breathe. So then people realized, gee, I'd rather work in an old office building, which was drafty in the winter and maybe a little hot in the summer, but at least the air leaked outside and inside the building everywhere and I wasn't getting sick. And it took a very long time for office building technology to adapt such that enough fresh air was brought in to ventilate the building so people didn't get sick, but not so much fresh air that you would have enormous heating and cooling costs for the building. People with asthma, they were the ones who suffered worst. Should you have your air ducts cleaned? Well, maybe. EPA recognized on certain conditions that you should. And they even tell you things you need to know about mold to keep your house clean. Radon gas is a naturally emitted substance from uranium and rocks. Depending on where you live, that radon gas may be emitted from the rocks and seep up through the ground into the surface, and if you're really unlucky, it gets into your house. Typically not a big problem in apartment buildings, more in private homes, and private homes in rocky, mountainous, hilly areas tend to be the worst, but in reality, radon gas is found all around the country, and it is known to cause cancer. You will have to get your house tested for radon if you ever buy a house. That's pretty standard practice. And if the house does have radon levels above a certain amount, then the house has to be ventilated in a process that is defined in this top article. So the moral of the story is, beware the air you breathe. And with that, I wish you good luck. Read all the articles. You'll learn all about this, and we'll speak to you next time.